one more question. One more question, sorry.
I was wondering if you could speak about the relative impact or importance of really large-scale installations versus the residential. I noticed in the California slide you had, the utilities were by far dominating California, which dominates by far the United States in terms of its production. Naively, at least to me, it seems like if we could find ways to encourage those kind of large-scale industrial utility-based installations, we'd make a far faster, greater impact than even thousands or millions of homes putting a few panels up.
All right, that's a really good question. And the question is basically, are we looking at impacts? Or the question is small-scale residential solar versus large-scale commercial solar, and the same thing with wind. Okay, small-scale wind versus large-scale wind. Studies have shown, for example, that it's far fewer resources used to make a big wind turbine than to make the equivalent number. This is a 10 kW turbine. I think it takes 250 of those. Let's see, 10 kW. It'd take 150 of those to generate as much electricity as a large commercial wind turbine. And it takes far more resources, far more energy to develop for everybody, to manufacture and install 150 of those than one big wind turbine. So from a resource standpoint with wind, large wind is much more economical than small wind, okay? And
even when you consider line loss?
yeah. So, and I'm a strong advocate of dispersed energy. We have a small wind turbine on our farm, so I'm a really strong advocate. But the fact of the matter is that when you just compare it on the basis of the amount of energy and the materials that go into making those turbines, one big turbine versus a small one, it's a better decision to put up a large one. Okay. That doesn't mean I'm recommending that. Doesn't mean that I'm saying don't do this. I believe in that. Now, with solar, the nice thing about solar is it's modular. And if you put 10 kW on your building or 10 megawatts in a solar field, it's fairly modular, so you're not changing the resource demand a whole lot. So, when you compare the energy that goes into that system and the materials that go into those systems, a small-scale solar is cost competitive with a big one. Now, the one advantage of a large scale is that you can order truckloads of solar modules. You're going to get a really good price, so the cost will be lower. The cost will be lower. What I don't like about large-scale solar is in Arizona, a lot of the systems are in the desert and just covering acres and acres and acres of desert land. And if you've ever traveled in the desert, it's really a fairly rich ecosystem. It's not some barren, in most places it's not barren sand, but it's a fairly rich ecosystem. So from the standpoint of resource use, small scale solar, large scale window solar, pretty much the same. You can get a better price on large scale solar because of the quantities that are purchased. What I'd like to see is, rather than using land, rather than installing solar systems on land, let's put them up on buildings. Let's put them up on the big box stores, Walmarts, and let's make something useful out of these places. Kmart's and Walmart's and Lowe's and Home Depot and all those big. Let's put them up there. One of the coolest developments that I've seen in a long time is something called community solar. Okay, it's also called remote net metering. What that is let's say you live in town here and your roof is all shaded and you just can't put solar on, and you can't just afford to go out and buy a new house and with good solar with good solar exposure. What's happening in states like California, Connecticut, Colorado is this thing called community solar, where entrepreneurs are putting up solar arrays, large solar arrays. Maybe they're renting the rooftop of a box, a big box store like Walmart or Kmart or something. They put up the array, and then people in the community who want solar can actually buy modules. Maybe you need 10 modules, you need 20 modules, you need 3 modules. So you buy those, and we put them up there. And the electricity that they make gets credited to your utility bill. So if your system makes 10,000 kilowatt hours a year, and you use 10,000 kilowatt hours a year, you've got no utility bill, except for the service charge to belong to the utility. So remote net metering is really exciting development, and it's making solar even more affordable for a lot of people, and more possible for a lot of people. That taps into large scale. I mean, that taps into a large scale application. But let's put them up on buildings. Let's put them up on the buildings. There are also rental programs now where you can get solar, you can get a system put on your home for free. And you basically enter into a rental agreement. You buy, basically you end up buying electricity maybe at the same cost that you're paying now for a period of 15 to 18 years. And at the end of that period, that array is yours. You didn't pay a penny for it. You didn't get as cheap of electricity as if you had the money to pay for it up front. You know, if you had put that on yourself, the lifetime cost of that electricity would have been lower, but you get a steady rate for the next 10, 15 or 18 years, maybe 20 years, and at the end of that period, it's yours. So that's a kind of an interesting economic innovation that's helping solar become more popular, more widely applied throughout the states. Did that kind of answer your question?
Sure, thanks.
All right, cool. One more.
The guy that did Tesla, he's doing spaceships, but he's also doing solar on homes. What do you think of his operation?
I don't know what he's doing with solar on homes. Is he Solar City by any chance?
He's got 3 businesses. One of them is to do what you just described,
Yeah, is that the rental?
the rental.
Is that Solar City?
He gives an option of buying, or I don't know what it is.
Yeah. You know, it's a heck of a deal for them because they get all kinds of tax and benefits. And it's a really good deal for homeowners too. But it's better if you can afford it yourself.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thanks. I'll be happy to answer questions up front.